everyone. Welcome to Unapologetically You with myself, Tulsi, and the beautiful Kelly, where we discuss all things health and wellness. We do use science-backed tools that support you, your family, and hopefully it provides thought-provoking conversations that gets you motivated to look after yourself and the ones you love. Today's podcast is very interesting. Obviously, I'm biased, but the hot topic of the day is why water is therapeutic. Being near water has constantly been associated with stress reduction and relaxation. And I bet you yourself have noticed the calming effects in your own life when you're nearer the ocean or a body of water, the sight, the sound, the smell of water. It has this calming effect on your nervous system. So Kelly and I will investigate some research as to why this happens and what effects it has on our body. But before we begin, thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for finding us and thank you for showing up for yourself. And if you would like to support what we're doing, head over to our Patreon page. You can support us for the small price of a cup of coffee. And we'd appreciate if you share this podcast too, because we are still growing and we want to grow our community. So without further ado, you can hear her. She's amazing and one of my closest friends. Thank you so much, Kelly. Welcome, my beautiful
Welcome. How are you today?
I'm better for seeing you. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm loving the little plait you have down the side. You look gorgeous in your burgundy color. It's one of your colors. No, I'm really good. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And work has been busy for you right now, right? Like super, super
Oh,
busy.
it's just growing. I'll have to explain to you everything that we're doing. It's probably just not as important to do it on this right here, right now. But yeah, I'll explain it all to you and why we're busy and how joyful and fills my cup up. This kind of
I
work does.
love that. Okay, so I'm going to go straight into what
Hmm.
is your biggest win in the last week?
Biggest win? I'll put it in business terms, 5 new clients this week. Yeah, actually since Sunday to today, 5 new clients. Yay.
That's
Yep.
such a short period of time. This is good. It's like
It is.
accelerating.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And at the
Amazing.
same time, we keep saying we're only going to be as busy as we want to be. But that's not working. But anyway, we will have some jobs available for some people soon if anyone wants to move to the Gold Coast of Australia.
Amazing. Well, there you go. That's an opportunity of a lifetime. Why not? And what made you smile?
Ooh. All right, I have to try to think of another one because the one that came straight to mind is inappropriate.
Oh no, I want
And
to
not
hear this
in a
now.
very funny way. I will tell you and you can pop it in the green room for
Okay.
later.
Any
Another
Patreon
time I'll do it
members,
later.
head over there. We will pop it in there.
Yeah. What made me smile? I had a weekend in Brisbane with girlfriends. So one is a marketing genius, one's a pediatric physio, one's an orthopedic surgeon, and then there's little old me. And then we just had the funnest time, just girlfriends catching up, So it was fun. That definitely made me smile. What made you smile?
Amazing. Oh, so basically, I went to go visit my cousin and her family this past weekend,
Hmm.
and I've never been to the Lake District, and obviously my parents have been, and they're very local to the area, and it was only a short drive. I'd probably say an hour drive to where they were.
Hmm.
It was such a beautiful day. Like we need to
Yeah.
embrace sunshine in the UK. I know it's like it's so frequent in Australia, but we definitely make the most of sunshine in this country. And so
Hmm.
yeah, just being near water and being, having good conversation, good food, being in the
Beautiful.
sunshine, walking a lot. It was just that's the thing that made me smile. I'm like looking at the mountains within the Lake District, looking at the boats, sailing on the lake. And yeah, it made me feel at peace. And exactly, I knew it was exactly
Really,
where I needed to be. Yeah,
it sort of fits in with our topic for today, doesn't it?
it really does. Yeah, like, okay,
Yeah.
but before we get there, one intention for the
Hmm.
coming week. What is your
Okay.
intention for the coming week?
I can't leave blank space here. What's your intention while I think of mine?
That's a good question. I never prep for these.
Oh, no, I don't prep for them either. It's just
Is the
whatever comes
only
first to
part
my
I don't
mind.
say that again.
Oh, I just say, the thing that flashes into my mind, what makes me smile, what's my intention, and then I know that's what it is. And it meant to be intention too, but nothing popped to mind real fast this time.
So the thing that popped into my mind quite quickly was
Mm-hmm.
my book. So obviously I've been sat
Oh
on
yes.
it since 2020. I've been obviously
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it quite quickly, but I ended up kind of just
Sure did.
sitting on it because I needed for it to be edited and kind of just like I was very much in procrastination mode. However, it's been edited. I just need to do the final revision and just get it out there. And I feel like my next 7 days, my intention is to review it and take the next
Mm-hmm.
steps and into self-publication. So it's kind of like, you know how when you first write something and then you're like, oh my goodness, it's very overwhelming. Am I sure like to put this information out there?
Yes.
And now I'm like, I'm
Yes.
so sure and confident that it's almost like it's not such a big hurdle for me anymore to go into the self-publication route. I do have publications out there already, but they're just like diaries and journal entries and gratitude journals and things like that. So something that you can easily get a hold of. But it's almost like I thought that this morning as I was lying in bed and I was like, it's not so daunting for me anymore. So it just feels like it's just a small leap rather than a big one.
Good girl. That's amazing because to me, it would still be a big leap, but you've really overcome that hurdle. Is it
Yeah.
because something else has been published in the meantime that kind of made you feel like that was actually easier than I thought it would be?
No, I think that is those steps of self-publishing those journals and those things online
Right.
anyway. It just made me feel like I know what the steps are. It doesn't need to be so daunting. So
Yep.
I just feel like it's just that. And I don't know, I'm in this energy of it sounds negative, but I don't mean for it to be this way, but it feels like what does
Mhm.
it matter anyway? Like what does it matter? Like the thing is, it's like
Yeah.
every day is a gift. Like what
Mm.
does it really matter? What does money really matter? What does like friendships and relationships matter? It's just like it, and that's what I mean. It sounds quite negative, but I don't mean it in that way. It's just like
No, you never
just
do.
be here, and I'm not putting emphasis on anything good or anything bad. So it's almost like I'm trying to remain in this neutral energy of just being an observer right now and taking the intuitive guidance and
Yeah.
making those baby steps as I go along. And that's with
All
every.
right. Now, these journals, as with everything, yeah. Now, your journals and gratitude journals are free downloads, aren't they? They're
No,
not.
they are on
Oh, you've
Amazon.
got.
You can purchase them worldwide. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've
All
got my
right. What's the
TL.
link for that?
Well, I've got my. It's under the TLV Performance author, so I haven't put my
Yes.
my obviously full name in. But if you wanted to have a look at any books published by TLV Performance, head over there.
There you
I'll
go.
put a link in the description box. But if you just wanted to,
Good
yeah, a
girl.
gratitude journal, and I took the pictures myself as well, so all the cover pictures are by me. So I wanted something quite unique as well. So it's something I'm such a massive journaler anyway. Like you know this, Cal. I write a
Mm,
lot.
I do know that.
So I was
Yep.
like, well, why can't I just create a journal? And a lot of journals do have, some of the guidance of questions and things like that. This doesn't have it. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them are blank books. And I wanted to just have them for like, I think it's like $5 or $6. It's nothing
Hmm.
outlandish. So it's just something that I wanted to try out. And you know what? I haven't even checked whether any of them are sold. I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Good girl. That's awesome. And so it's on Amazon US,
Worldwide. You can
UK,
get it. Yeah, you can get it worldwide.
Amazon
So
US one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it'll just be transferred to the currency that you're in.
Okay. Oh, all right. Make sure you put that link in. That's
I
awesome.
will. I will. I'm gonna have to make a note because you know me, I'm gonna forget. Okay, so what is your intention? Did you figure it out?
Oh, I'm going to buy a journal. There you
Oh,
go.
friend
I
supporting
knew I
friend.
did have an intention until, yeah, exactly.
I love it. Okay. Right. Next thing.
Hmm.
Our hot topic of the day. So I'm going to start off of talking about. So when I typed this into Google and, trying to investigate, it gave me information about water therapy. Now I get that water
Hmm.
therapy can be very useful for physiotherapists,
Hmm.
for people who are injured. Like as coaches, we know that therapy in water, because it takes the weight off of that joint or off of that area in order for you to
Hmm.
get moving. And it's also known as hydrotherapy, right? So it's been
Hmm.
recognized and it has numerous health benefits. But we actually broke down some of the different therapies. And Kelly, do you want to start off with hydration and say detoxification and how beneficial water can play in that role?
In the role of hydration and
Yeah.
detoxification. Yeah, of course. So water plays a crucial role in maintaining proper hydration levels in the body, which is essential for overall health. Of course. Drinking an adequate amount of water helps flush out toxins, supports kidney function, aids digestion, and promotes healthy glow on the skin. Research has shown that maintaining proper hydration can have positive effects on cognitive function, absolutely right, physical performance, 100%, and overall well-being. Interesting, huh? So a lot of that, I think, we already know is common sense also, and most people would also know the effects of dehydration and how that feels. But some of those things there, I think, we don't necessarily remember. We might have known it at some stage, but you forget. And I think a good reminder to not just have a drink of water or not just drink 8 glasses of water, which is you know, what they say you should have, but thinking more about the reason you have those 8 glasses of water might encourage you to have them a little bit more often. Because I know I don't drink enough. Well, I don't drink 8 glasses of water a day
You don't?
unless I've been no, not unless I've been working out or being outdoors. If I've been quite idle, which today I have been idle, I've been
Mm.
sitting down programming today. I don't think to get up and have a glass of water. So no, I
Do you
don't.
do you ever
You do?
feel dehydrated though, or are you just kind of
Hmm.
like tunnel vision focus on what you're doing?
I feel dehydrated right now. I don't feel ill. I just feel like I could have a drink of water. But do I ever feel dehydrated? Yeah. Since we've moved to the warmer climate, I've definitely found that it doesn't get very cold overnight, whereas in the Blue Mountains it did. So here we wake up and it's 16 degrees, and at night time it gets cooler, but still much warm. Whereas you'd wake up in Glenbrook and it would be -4.
Oof, yeah.
So, oof, I know. I don't miss that part. Um, so yeah, you're dehydrating overnight, right? And in summer, it would be 20 something degree, 22 degrees, 23 overnight. And I definitely would wake up with headaches and dehydration.
Oh,
Seems to have,
Kelly. So
yeah,
you have to
I
like
know. I've had to
adjust.
learn.
Yeah, yeah. And
I have had to adjust. Yeah.
don't you put like, is it lemon or cayenne pepper or something like that in your water in the mornings? Because I remember we talked
Lemon.
about this a
Yeah.
few years ago and you said that you put all these goodies in your water.
Yeah. Yeah. There is some kind of strategy where you do put cayenne pepper in and something else. Maybe it was honey, lemon juice, something. Anyway, I can't remember what that was. But no, I don't do that. I just use lemons. And because my sister has a lime tree, often lime. So I just squeeze, juice a lime, fill it up with this beautiful water that we actually get brought in from Currumbin. And it's water that seeps through rocks that are. So it takes a million years for this little drop to get down. Maybe not a million, but a long time for this water to seep through and get filtered through all the minerals and is purified and we get that water. So
Wow, amazing. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
I'm very much it depends. And I feel like this is a blanket statement for everyone right now. It's like it really
Mm,
depends. And we said this in debunking myths on health and wellness. So head over to that podcast. We
hmm.
put it in the link below. But basically it was talking about why 8 glasses of water isn't necessarily the dumb thing. And also, many people adhere
Not
to
for
it, many
everyone.
people go over it. And you need to find out what's good for you, what's good for your physical exertion, your environment. And for me, like, I tend to, if I feel thirsty, then I know it's a sign of dehydration. So I try and keep on
Mm,
top of that because I'm very conscious about my eating habits. So before it was almost like, oh, I'm hungry, but I'm not. It really was. I'm thirsty. And obviously,
yeah.
if after 10, 15 minutes you're still hungry or you feel hungry, well, then go eat. So it's almost like for me, it's like
Mm,
I don't need to then go keep eating. I need to kind of figure out what my body's trying to tell me. And on that, I spoke about earlier actually about joint and muscle therapy when it comes to water and hydration. So
mhm.
hydrotherapy, for example, I would subscribe or prescribe, should I say, walking in water, especially if you've had ankle injuries or knee surgeries for my parents, and obviously for anybody that I'd be coaching. But those water exercises and the therapies are so beneficial for individuals with joint or muscle conditions because that water takes off the pressure of those joints, and it really does make you work harder, especially if you're walking almost uphill, for example, but you're doing that in water. And I love how the leisure centers have these like water-based classes for the elderly population. I remember when I was first started off in the fitness industry, and there'd be lots of older women taking part in these classes, and I was like, "What is that?" But it's so good for them, and they're not realizing how much they're working out because obviously you're in water. But it's been found to be
Mhm.
effective managing musculoskeletal conditions, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia. So no wonder you've got all these older populations taking therapy of this because, generally speaking, they need that to increase the range of motion. So I feel like those gentle movements, they are working quite strenuously, but they don't feel like it is. And then you're surrounded by people that you enjoy hanging out with. But Cal, you've got information about stress reduction and relaxation. I want to know more about, for me, I find this topic interesting of why water is beneficial for our mental wellness too.
Well, I know from living at the ocean that the negative ions given off by salt are part of it, but water has a calming effect on the mind and the body, right? So it's an
Mm,
excellent tool for stress reduction and for relaxation. So, like I said, the sound of the waves, but what about a waterfall? Or we went to Magnetic Island not that long ago, and just the water laps in onto the beach and then it laps back out. That sound is the most relaxing one to me. The ocean to me is a bit more, there's a bit more power behind it. It's a bit more oomph to the feeling that it gives me, but other people will sit there and just go to sleep to waves. So
mm,
everyone's different. So yeah, the sound of water and then immersing yourself in water can elicit a relaxation response. It can reduce anxiety and promote overall well-being. And then research suggests that hydrotherapy can alleviate symptoms of stress-related disorders such as anxiety and insomnia, as well as all the things you just mentioned with joints and injuries.
and when you
So what
started with,
can't it do?
I know, right? Well, you know how you said that you moved closer to the ocean.
Yep.
Did you ever hear the ocean at night? Like, did that like kind of knock
Yeah.
you? You just weren't
Yeah.
used to it.
Yeah. I wasn't used to it. I had to block it out. We live very close to the ocean when I first moved here, and the ocean can get quite angry, the waves, yeah, and be very loud. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily a relaxing thing for me at night time.
Yeah. It's because he was so used to those almost like animals around the mountains and the forest, right? Because you were surrounded
Yeah,
by
yeah,
that type of
yeah.
noise.
Forest sounds or bush sounds or just dead
Mm.
quiet, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a little bit more consistent, even though it was rhythmic noise, and rhythmic noise usually is quite relaxing. Maybe I we still can hear it at night time. We can hear it during the daytime, but now it doesn't. feel like I'm trying to block it out anymore. Maybe I'm just used to it now.
The white noise
So
now,
maybe it does
hasn't it?
relax me now. Exactly, a bit of white noise now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so there was another article about the effect of, or the efficiency of nasal irrigation and the treatment of acute
Mm.
sinusitis. I've butchered that. How do you pronounce it?
Sinusitis?
That's it.
Sinus?
Thank you, girl.
Sinus? I'm not sure that
Horrible.
is it, to be honest, but let's
No,
say
it
it is.
was. I was terrible
Okay.
pronunciation on my part, but respiratory health. I can pronounce that.
Yes.
Water
Good girl.
therapy, that steam inhalation, that nasal irrigation. I said this to my dad the other day. I actually put fresh mint leaves because we've got a mint bush in our garden,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever you call it, a tree. So
Yes.
I just washed it and then put the fresh mint into hot water. And I was literally like, smell it. And I was like, you can even
Oh,
have this
beautiful.
as, just what do they call it? A steam bath, right? You've just got the steam against your
Mm.
skin, you're inhaling it. So the therapy, that water therapy that you're getting, and that steam inhalation with saline water has actually huge benefits for your respiratory health. And that actually helps relieve symptoms of congestion, inflammation, clears the airways, and that hydrotherapy used is used so that supportive treatment for asthma, bronchitis, and what did you say again?
Sinus. We just call it sinus. A
Yeah,
sinus infection.
yeah. So I found that really amazing. And the fact is, again, we're just researching more and more articles on why it's so beneficial for your health. So I think we just forget to do that, right? We're thinking, okay, I need to go to the doctors and I need to get this spray, or I need to go to get the antibiotics, and I need to do that. But I don't know if anybody did this. I don't know if you did this, Cal, but you know how you've
Hmm.
got a bowl of water, fill it with hot water, put a towel over your head, and literally sink down. And it's like
I
so
reckon I've done that.
basic. It's so basic,
Yeah.
but basically, I think the actual companies had come out with the
I know. You can buy a
you
little
can buy them
face
now, but back in
steamer.
the day, it
I
was
know.
literally like a
Well, back
bowl
in the day,
and
it was a towel
a
over
towel.
mum's cake mixing bowl.
Right? So it's like, well,
Right.
we we
Absolutely right.
we kind of put emphasis on all these creams and all these methods and all these like medications, but it's like, go back to, like we talked about Ayurveda
Yeah.
health in the last podcast. So this is going back to those natural therapies.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
about, so
Exactly.
obviously with the nasal passages and inflammation, so that obviously impacts the circulation and cardiovascular health too, right?
Well, it can do. So, water therapy can enhance circulation and cardiovascular health, definitely. So, alternating between hot and cold water treatments, such as hot and cold showers or contrast baths, can improve blood flow. And we use those in the athletic environment, don't we? It can
Mm.
also stimulate the lymphatic system, so important for everyone's health, general health. Stim that lymph system, everyone. But it also enhances overall cardiovascular function. So, hydrotherapy has been utilized as a complementary approach for managing conditions like high blood pressure and peripheral artery disease as well. I did not know that necessarily. If I'd
No.
been asked it, I probably would have guessed at it, but yeah, interesting, isn't it? All the
But have
different
you
therapies
noticed
and the
that?
way to use it.
So you go out in the ocean and obviously you're battling
Hmm.
with the currents of the ocean, but they actually stimulate those in confined areas. And we're like, all right, now go through the waves or swim through the waves. And it really does test not just athletes, but people in general, if they wanted to improve their, blood pressure or artery disease, surely, because that's the way they're improving their fitness, right?
Yeah, for some people, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
wanted to investigate a little bit more about why water has a massive effect when it comes to stress reduction and relaxation in particular. So now that we know about the health and wellness of our general body, right, we talked about all of the therapies that can support our health. But I found this fascinating. I don't know about you, Cal, but there was
Okay.
blue mind theory, right? Tell me, like, there was a study by a marine biologist.
Oh, okay. So odd that it was by a marine, well, probably not odd because they live in water, basically, these marine biologists. But yeah, a marine biologist by the name of Wallace J. Nichols suggested that being near water can induce a mildly meditative state that promotes a sense of calmness and well-being. And the theory proposes that our brains have a blue mind that is deeply connected to water, and being near it can elicit a positive emotional and psychological response.
Yeah,
Sounds nice, doesn't it?
I've never heard of that theory until, until you said it. Never heard of it.
Yeah,
How
yeah. I've never heard it
interesting though.
called that.
No.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah,
But do you
yeah.
think that that is the same as looking at the sky then? Like looking at the blue sky?
We will have to try that one. We'll have to lie down, look at the sky, and then yes, suggest that be just being near water and looking at it.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe actually, because I was never a lying on the beach type of person. I'm like, let's walk the beach
No,
type
me
of
either.
person. But maybe
Yes.
like
Yeah.
getting to a point, because I just don't like lying there and doing nothing. However, now that I've obviously gone a little bit deeper into mindfulness and being in the present moment, is like you're lying on the beach, you're listening to the ocean sounds, but then you're looking upwards at the sky. So it's almost like you're still getting that blue mind theory, perhaps, I don't know. But you're getting the best of both worlds, right? You're smelling, you're being around water, experiencing those positive emotions. But maybe we should trial that ourselves, create
Yeah.
our own little research.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone else can do it too and let us know what they think.
Yeah,
I think it depends what type of water you're around. I don't know if looking
agree.
at, yeah, a little
But
puddle or something
this is
that's
where you said earlier is quite interesting that there was obviously a disturbance in the sleep because you weren't used to those ocean sounds and waves. And I remember coming across somebody, we'd met them on holiday, and they said they bought an apartment just across the beach. But it was the
Mhm.
sound of the ocean waves that actually disturbed their sleep because they just weren't used to it. But obviously, over time,
Mm,
it's become white noise. And this is
yeah,
another theory that it says those relaxing sounds, just as you said, Cal, that rhythmic sounds of water, like the waves crashing and the babbling brook, or I don't know about you, Cal, but rain falling on your window. For me, I'm like, oh, lying in bed, listening to the rain on the window pane. It's like, it's so soothing. And it actually has
I
been
do. I
proven
love it.
to have that soothing effect on the mind, right? And the sound of water, like like you get those indoor water fountains that used to be huge like years ago. So you've got the
Mm,
sound of the
mm.
water just being found to lower stress, and it lowers the stress hormone levels, induces relaxation response in the body. Your nervous system is relaxed. You've now utilized this sound therapy, or even, listening to nature in, Spotify or podcasts, just to help promote that relaxation of sleep.
That is very true. A lot of people have like nature sounds to pop them off to sleep, don't they?
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
actually got a cat fountain, and it's like a little fountain that cats drink out of it. Our cats
Yeah,
drink
I've
out of it.
seen them.
Recommended by our friend Lewis from Mercedes. He messaged me. He said, "I've got this for my cat, and you should get it for your cat." And I'm like, "Okay." So I did, and the cats love it. But it's a constant trickling sound in the house. I
Mm.
like it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I was
It's
cat sitting for a friend and she had the same thing. And I was like, it's really nice, just like its own little waterfall, own little fountain.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And
No, I like it.
so this weekend we went on a boat, and I've got this thing
Hmm.
about boats for people who don't know. But Kelly, am I right to say you're a boat person too?
I do love it.
Okay,
Yes, I
you.
was out on a yacht 2 weeks ago. It's nice. Yeah.
Okay, good. So when I went on a boat around the Lake District, I just there was some girls obviously taking their selfies and like, well, not selfies, but like pictures of their
Yeah.
friends. And then as soon as I got up, I was at the back of the boat, the rear of the boat, and you know how the water just cascades and flows out into the lake. I'm there just
Hmm.
looking, and I've got it on my Instagram actually. So if you do head over to my Instagram, under my personal name, Tulsi V, this, like, I took a picture and a reel of all the water, and just for me, just watching that, all the sunlight beams on the water, like, for me, it's so visually appealing, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely beautiful. So you were there at sunset?
I was in there the whole day. We didn't actually see the
Oh,
sunset there.
oh, okay. Sunset on water is beautiful. But you're
Yeah.
talking about the wake that's behind the boat, the way it
Oh,
goes out into that V
yes. Yes, I didn't
wake.
explain
Yeah.
it properly. But yeah, for me, it was so visually appealing. But there's research on that, right, Cal?
The
The visual
visual
appeal.
appeal of water. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the visual aspect of water, especially serene bodies of water like the lakes that you were on and rivers, but even oceans when they're quite gentle, can be visually captivating and tranquil. So looking at water scenes can provide a sense of the tranquility, can reduce mental fatigue and increase positive mood. Water views have been associated with faster recovery from stress and better attention restoration compared to other natural or urban scenes, which is why hospitals might have water scenes in there. Actually, a friend of mine many, many years ago did a PhD on the art in hospitals and what the art in hospitals should be. And they did find that water scenes um, produced a less anxiety producing environment. I don't know if they found out about faster recovery from, you're in hospital, it's a pretty serious thing, so it might
Mm.
not have really imprinted faster recovery there. But if you're at home and you're not feeling well, if you've got a cold or a snuffle or something, then, sitting by the water might induce
Yeah.
a faster recovery there. It would for me. I like it.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, for some reason, like, I feel the urge to be near water. And my mum has a funny story. When I was younger, is any point there was a friggin' fountain or like a drinking water, whatever it was, a
Oh, you were
puddle.
that kid.
I was that kid, so I'd be there playing with water, and she told me once that we were at the airport, and it was me, my mum, and my brother, and my grandma, and I was there obviously playing with a fountain, but she says at some point you must have shifted, and I was very young at that point, so she thought the doors are right there. Like, she must have wandered out. And we're in India at this point. If she was like, if she walked out through those doors, there was a massive state of panic at this point. Because she was like, if my little
Yeah.
girl has wandered out through those doors, there is no freaking way of me trying to find her outside in this
No.
world. So there was a massive panic. And they'd obviously went looking for me. So they thought I disappeared completely. And it
Oh,
just turned out that I just shifted, that they just couldn't see me in their eyesight. And I was still there playing with the water because it was just like I was just attracted to the water. But basically,
mm,
my dad probably won't like me saying this, but back in the day, we didn't have the capacity to just pick up the phone and speak to them, right? So my mum had obviously written a
no.
letter to my dad, and my dad's like opening this letter and reading what had happened. And as he's reading, he's
Oh,
thinking, shit, is this a letter where my wife is telling me that my daughter has now disappeared into the big wide world? And he'd known that people capture kids, they get into
yes.
this
Yes.
industry of you know,
Yeah.
prostitution and gangs and things like that. So obviously they value girls in that industry. So my dad's there crying on this letter, going, "Oh my God, have I lost my baby
Oh,
girl?" Yeah, he's
yeah.
literally like crying, and he told me this story actually because I didn't know this. And then right at the end, my mum's like going, "But we found her," and he's like, "Oh, fuck!" Like, I was like, oh my God, can you imagine? Like, and for me to hear that story like years later, I was just like, I could feel the emotion. And it's like, oh, but yeah, there's me, not a care in the world, just playing with water.
No, just playing in the water. Oh God. Yeah.
So,
Wonder they haven't forgotten that story.
no, it's insane. But Cal, um, you mentioned negative ions, and
Yep.
this is another reason why water is so beneficial. It's like you've got the water features, the waterfalls, the ocean waves, all of them release those negative ions that surround the air. So those negative ions have been shown to enhance mood, reduce anxiety, promote the sense of well-being. And some studies have said that exposure to those negative ions have actually improved the serotonin level. So we talked about happy hormones before, like oxytocin, serotonin. What are the other ones? Oxytocin, serotonin. I can't think.
Oxytocin is the ultimate one.
Yeah. Well, it just has such a
Serotonin.
positive impact. Those negative ions have such a positive impact on mental health. But you have a little bit more about mindful reflection, right? How come, like, when I said maybe we could just be mindful around those bodies
Just
of
by
water?
being near water, you can
Mm,
be more mindful and often provides an opportunity for self-reflection and mindfulness, don't you think? It
I
does for
do
me,
too. I
yeah.
can just stare out into the horizon and just be like, there's the water there. I'm just staring at the water.
I know, because you see other reflections of nature in water as well. And I think that's close to both of our hearts. So you see the sun and you see it change, you see the moon and you see the changes and all the branches. And then whatever's underneath the water is a whole different story again.
Yeah.
Probably not the most calming thing for me thinking what's under it. But anyway, so the calming environment can help individuals focus on the present moment and engage in mindful practices such as meditation or deep breathing exercises. This combination of nature and mindfulness further enhances relaxation and stress reduction, and that's research, not
Mm.
just how we feel about it.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely. So in meditation and mindfulness, they say the easiest thing to start with is breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe
Mm-hmm.
out because that
Yeah.
is so present that even if your thoughts wander or your mind gets distracted, you can always come back to the breath, and it really does make that mindfulness more easier, I want to say. But the funny thing is when you talk about that mindful reflection being near water, because maybe you can see the waves, or as you said, the gentle waves that brush the shoreline and then retreat back in. So you can kind of just like almost breathe in with those waves at the same point, right? And being surrounded by those negative ions, like why wouldn't it be calming for you? For
Mm.
sure, for sure.
Ah, it is. And healthy, really healthy.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, you're making
you mentioned about water reflecting nature. And I completely forgot about that because
yeah.
I'm thinking about a large body of water. But actually, if you think about the Lake District that I was just in, obviously it wasn't a
Mm.
free flowing water, was it? It was a massive lake.
No,
But you can see the mountains reflect, you can see, the trees. But then you forget how therapeutic, obviously, the water is reflecting the nature. And
yeah.
water is an essential element of nature. Spending time near water allows us to connect with the natural world. It connects us with those mental health benefits. It reduces our stress, it improves mood, increases vitality, and enhances our overall well-being. And I always say is there's a stream where I live in Northamptonshire, and because I crave water sometimes, I'm like, that stream for me sometimes is enough just to get maybe
Yeah.
those negative ions around that area, or I don't know, being near water. But sometimes I crave, big bodies of water being like the ocean or a beach or something. And I know in Cardiff, when I come visit my parents, that they do have something local, even if it's a rocky beach, doesn't matter. But it does make a world of
Hmm.
difference, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah. So you've got a beach close by you in Cardiff.
I do. Well, we got a couple of beaches because we are on the
Yeah.
south coast. Well, we're on the south of Wales. And so we can easily get to maybe like half an hour or 20-minute drive. We are really close. So I'm quite lucky. And that's probably why I spend a little bit more time at home because there's a garden. There's like, we do have a
Mm.
waterfall in our garden, but we don't really use it very much. Um,
Mm.
It's kind of nice to just go down the road where we've got a stream, or we can go a little bit further and end up on what South Wales's beaches. So Wales is a pretty beautiful country anyway.
Yeah, sounds glorious. I'll have to get there.
Yes, for sure. You're more than welcome. Okay, so health motivational tip of the day. Mine's going to be pretty obvious. Do you want me to start, or
Okay.
have you got one in mind?
Are you going to say drink water?
No, no, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. So what is your very obvious health motivational tip?
Okay, because we are talking about water, and because I'm going to say I'm a Pisces, I am a water sign. So I'm water sign through and through. I love the water. So my health motivational tip of the day is whether it's a beach, lake, or river, or even just a water fountain, being near water does provide that respite for the demands of daily life. Um,
Uh-huh.
Shift away from the busyness of life and go into those tranquil environments, promote purposeful, intentional relaxation and stress reduction. So if we can find those settings around us, or even I know as well, when we talked about it earlier, just watching pictures or images of water. Go on YouTube, have a look at some of those images that they've got all around the world about beaches, waterfalls, rivers through the mountains. Take advantage of those settings for your well-being and promote the fact that it does have that positive effect on your mental and physical well-being. So for those of you who maybe don't want to go on YouTube and look at those things, soak your feet in water, have a shower or a bath, and use the water as a cleanse and nourishing, um, kind of like washing away some of the mental chatter or the physical tension you may be having around your body or in your body at that time. So that's my health motivational tip of the day. Any ideas, Cal?
Okay, I will bring it back to strategic eating. So this was a conversation I had with my Fab Four group of girlfriends this weekend, and everyone has their own idea on eating, and we all gave our own, but this was my one. So I always eat my vegetables first, or eat a salad first, like the Europeans do. I grew up eating the European way, salad or vegetables first, meat and protein, oh sorry, protein and fat second, and then you don't really feel like eating as much carbs as you would as if you tucked into those potatoes first thing up. So there you go, strategic eating. Eat your fruit, not your fruit, eat your vegetables first, eat your fat and protein second, and then only eat as many carbs as in mashed potato or potatoes of any kind, and you won't eat as much.
I
There you go.
love that. I love that health motivational tip of the day. And yes, I'm the same. I eat my salad first. I don't know
Yeah,
what it
just
is.
stops the glycogen spike.
I love it. Yeah.
The glucose.
It's
Yep.
something that I've always done. And it's something, even
Same.
if, so we, Indian style eating, we have everything on our plate usually. And
Hmm.
sometimes they start off. So this is where my like sweet tooth has come from. We start off as it's a starter, but it's sweet. So it's sometimes like
Okay.
go for the sweet, then you've got your mains, then sometimes you end with a sweet or what do they call it? Like rice
Wow.
curry. So you can even end up with that. But usually
Hmm.
it's almost like you can have what they call as the Indian sweets, right? The mithai is sometimes they call it. It's just lathered in fats and sugar and
Oh,
basically.
how do you not weigh a ton?
Well, we don't have that much in the house. That's probably why.
Oh, okay.
But I have noticed that I tend to eat my salad first. I move on to the chapatis and curries, and then I will have very little rice at the end. But I really enjoy that. And yesterday I ended up with an ice cream. So, and even then I split it with my mum. So it's just like having the little bit of sweet to end. It's almost like a little bit of dark chocolate sometimes just takes kind of like finishes the palate is what I'm trying to say. Yes, finishes
Okay.
the taste of the
All
palate.
right. Well,
But
you'll
yeah,
have to put one of your beautiful mum's recipes or your recipes in down there as well. Down, not down there, down in the comments below as well.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Or start your own cooking show. I'm all for that.
I keep telling my mum to do this. I'm like, Mum, you cook so well. Can you open a restaurant or like, do you want to do something on YouTube? And she's like, nah, not interested. But I don't know. You
Mm.
just have to come over and visit and just have her taste of Indian food, basically, Cal. Visit the beaches of Wales and the mountains up in Brecon Beacons, and yeah, make it a whole adventure.
Sounds good to me.
Guys, thank you so much. It's a perfect way to end up. I hope you found this podcast useful. Comment below and share it with your family and friends. We would love for you to be a part of our community on Patreon, where you will have extended features and a little bit of the green room chat between Kelly and I. If you're watching us on YouTube and seeing our faces, thank you so much for joining us. Hit subscribe, click the notification bell, and remember to hit the like button, because the more and more people who like this, who engage with this, it will be taken through the algorithms and the rivers of YouTube to like reach other people too. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.